Hi Pisces, it's me, Kamilah Rose. Welcome to another video. We are going to be knocking out these May readings. I had a recent death in my immediate family, and so I took a little bit of time off, but this is one of my coping mechanisms, is doing some readings and being able to channel my energy towards helping others. So let's find out what's in store for Pisces for the month of May. Here's your main card. Here's your next card. Your main card is Eight of Cups. So there's still some situations that it's time for you to walk away from. There's still some things that emotionally you're still unfulfilled. You're not where you really want to be fully. And it's time for you to move towards more happiness, more joy, more literal wishes fulfilled. You have that showing up here with the star card, which is wishes fulfilled. It is hopes, dreams, wishes. It is the things that are coming forth. These are 2 8 cards, actually. 10 and 7. 1 and 7 is 8. So you have a lot of very prominent 8 energy. 8 is all about perfectionism. So there may be some work to do with focusing on perfectionism. I don't think that that's a coincidence that the Justice card popped up, because at times Libras can be a bit obsessed with perfectionism, and through that I mean balance. So we have a 2 of Pentacles, which was like weighing out. So with that, there's some dreams, there's some things that you still like to see come to pass. And you've been weighing out the options about perhaps what you want to invest your time and your energy towards. And you've decided to actually go and take one of those pentacles and just go ahead and move forward with it, to aggressively kind of go after that. And with that, you're going to find some justice. You're going to find some balance. I think one of the things is that if you've been going back and forth between where you put your time and your energy, where you focus, and the seeds that you plant for your future, because you've been trying to figure out, like, is this something that actually fills my cup? Is this something that leaves me? Again, balance is very important right now for you. One, because we have in the star card, the individual is pouring water, into like the stream of consciousness, our understanding of who we are, and then is pouring water onto the earth. It's balancing out the mental and the material, the physical and the mind, but also like the conscious and the unconscious. So there is a need to kind of spill over into both, give time and energy to exploring both. And when you're stuck kind of in the material realm, which is what the Pentacles is all about, there's an imbalance that's kind of being shown that's happened for you mentally or emotionally or spiritually. You may not have been filling your cup for those areas as much as you have been focused on meeting some of those more physical material needs, which makes sense. We all need money. We all need to be able to survive. We need to have good health and things like that. And so there's this balancing of energies that you've been going back and forth on. And, in the background of this one, we have the water and the waves and the boats. And so an adventure, expansion, exploration. And so kind of like one foot's up, one foot's on the ground, one foot's up again, like this energy of from pouring into the water to pouring onto the land, 1 foot on the ground, 1 foot in the air, trying to decide between the practical, logical approach and taking care of the physical needs that have to be met, versus maybe taking the more fun route, taking the one that'll expand your mind, taking the one that'll give you more opportunities, but maybe is a little bit less certain, a little bit of a lower price or salary or something of that nature. But you decide to move forward. You decide to finally make a choice. And I think that's really important about where you're going to invest your time and your energy. And I think you really need to be getting very clear. If you do not have a list of goals, if you do not have a list of metrics, if you do not have a list of these are the things I'm trying to achieve, how are you making your decisions about where you put your time and your energy? Because what might be happening is that if you don't have a clear view of what it is that your hopes and your dreams are, then it is always possible for something new to kind of come in and take some of that energy or distract you or to take you in another direction. But when you have at least an understanding, some type of identification of what those hopes and dreams are, then when you're weighing out these options and things that come up for you, you can look to see, is it in alignment or is it not? And if it's not, then sometimes you can better be able to gauge between whether you should move forward with an option or not. So like, what are those hopes and those dreams? I would say you have at least 8. There's an 8-pointed star on these, on the star card, which I always love. Star by Nana, we love that, Eastern Star. So I don't know, I would take a look at that. But from making this choice and going after it, like holding this pentacle and deciding to move forward is going to bring more balance. It is going to bring more peace, I believe, to your life. Hopefully directing you into the space that you want to go in. And we do have with a star card here, that is Aquarius, and with the Justice card, that is Libra. And in this deck, Justice is the 11 card, but in other decks, Justice is also the 8 card. So you have a lot of that 8 energy that's very present here. So I would definitely be looking at any issues or concerns or spaces where you are preoccupied with perfectionism. Because anything that is perfect is no longer living, and you have to allow that space to maybe mess up, to not get everything right, to not have to have everything be perfect. Even as we look into the Justice card, in this deck it's not quite as clear, but in other decks you can see that they use traditional imagery. You can see that the individual, the woman in the Justice card, is kind of pushing one of the scales with her knee and causing it to be more in or out of balance. Justice is not this arbitrary thing. It is impacted by the decisions we make, by the choices, by the things that we do, by how we intentionally kind of interact with the scales. So I would definitely take a look at that. And I do also think that it's still relevant to take a look at how this is playing out with the two hands, one holding a sword up this time and one holding a scale. Where has your perhaps intellect caused you to feel a little imbalanced because of some overthinking or lack of feeding yourself spiritually and intellectually? And it seems like you need to make a move towards that. There may be some discussions that need to happen, some emails, messages that need to be sent or that will be coming in. You have a Knight of Swords here. And so a Knight of Swords is quick messages, is quick communication. It is learning something or picking up something really quickly, going through a program very quickly. We have the Magician here, which is very much so leaning towards and focusing on that empowerment and of that space of magic, of being able to direct your will to get the things that you desire. And so with that, there may be a feeling of some instability, especially financially. So again, we go from a 2 of Pentacles to a Knight of Pentacles. We get a 4 of Pentacles in reverse. So this may be a bit of if you were to take your life into your hands and do the things that you desire, would it knock things off balance? Would it make you feel unstable and as if, your finances were something that would maybe not be able to withstand these changes? Perhaps you have some discussions or interactions with people around things related to business, related to your finances. And it does seem that this is pretty stressful. It seems like this is a bit of a stressful moment. That even as you're trying to stand in your power, it feels stressful. We get a King of Wands, our favorite, our reluctant leader, the mastery of the fire energy. Really feels like it's playing off that Magician card a bit, that it's just like, okay, kind of have to sit in this knowledge, sit in this awareness, sit in this power of like the fire and what the fire is trying to kind of forge and trying to really, teach me in this moment? And so you may need to take a little bit of a break. You may need to take a little bit of time aside to just kind of clear your mind, gain some wisdom, especially if there has been some sneakiness, maybe some people not being completely upfront and things of that nature. You're definitely maybe also a little bit of neglecting your self-care with that. So again, a lot of this seems to be around maybe even finding just a space where you recognize what your happiness is. What is the course of your happiness? What is the focus of your happiness? How do you get that directed and in place? And from that, you may be able to identify what needs to end, where there is a transition that needs to happen, where there may be a loss of victory, that you may not win every battle, especially if there is something around there being some, I don't know. I don't know if I want to read this as, I'll read both ways as I can kind of see this, but a loss of victory that either leads you to feeling like, okay, I need to always be prepared. I need to maybe, I can't trust everyone. I need to really be mindful and watch my back. I need to be careful about who I talk to, who I share information with. But it can also be that this ending comes that, okay, I'm not going to win every battle. I don't need to win every battle. And maybe some growth and understanding of what's most important is that I learn how to gain trust. I need to end this kind of cycle of being in these situations where I'm constantly neglecting my self-care, not following through with my dreams, feeling like my power is being challenged, finding myself in these stressful situations with people I cannot trust. Like I have to end this cycle because I never really get to win, right? That's our last outcome card. And during Taurus season, all these energies going through Taurus is definitely going to activate Scorpio energy, which is the death card. And we're in Taurus season right now. So that is definitely leaning towards some things that need to be cleared out. Venus in the underworld will be going down, and the 8-point star is a symbol of Venus. Venus in the underworld will be going down and kind of through. And if we use the myth of Inanna, then we have Inanna dropping off parts of her power as she goes down into the underworld through the 7 gates. And so you can look at this as perhaps one of those moments where parts of your power, parts of who you identify and who you find yourself to be, have been maybe being kind of stripped away. And in order to get you to this place where you can, in the month of June 10th, is it? I'll have to go and look. Haven't looked at it in a little bit of time. But in June, when the exact superior conjunction happens, you'll be in this space where you can actually let go and be kind of hung up on the meat hook and be reborn, move into a space of being reborn. And it's leaving you with a decision. Let me take a look at what this decision is. Let's take a look at what this decision is. Okay, temperance. Yeah, there's a big part here about balancing, and it still seems that things are not balanced. Oh yeah. Okay. Well, part of this is going to be about realizing that you're doing too much. You have too many responsibilities. You're taking on too much. And that's part of why it is that you keep trying. You keep ending up kind of stuck in your head, trapped in this cycle. You also have another 8 that's popping out. So again, this perfectionism. And here's the thing. What are you trying to get perfect? Life? That's not a thing. That's not real. Your emotions, you're trying to have the perfect emotional connections. You're trying to make your thoughts be perfect, That's not a thing either, Let's see if we get anything else. A new emotional offer coming in. And then a 7 of Wands in reverse. Yeah, I think there's just this choices coming up about the imbalances that are showing up in your life. Temperance card, Sagittarius in reverse. Maybe you were recognizing that there's just some folks who were out of alignment with you, and they just weren't going to ever really be able to get into alignment with you. And the more that you try to make that thing happen, the more it throws you off balance. And then the more actual work you actually end up picking up, trying to manage this and manage your overall life. And then once you allow yourself to kind of release that feeling of trying to kind of control these things, it leaves you in this space where your cup can actually overflow. And there's a lot of putting down the wands here, putting down the responsibilities. And maybe not even necessarily responsibilities, but like the claiming that this is yours, right? Maybe this is work that you don't actually need to be doing, or maybe this is work that isn't yours, and maybe it's just time to let that go and to stop fighting. We have all these wands in reverse, 6 of wands in reverse, 10 of wands in reverse, 7 of wands in reverse. 7 of wands I usually think of as more defensive, like you win something and now you're defending kind of where you've been. But you didn't. This doesn't feel like a victory. This isn't a victory. And so then in that case, it's like, well, I don't have anything to defend. But it seems kind of like this is something that is like, it just needs to end. So like an 8, right? The 8 energy of perfectionism, and then seeking perfectionism, actually finding that something that is perfect is dead. It leads to stagnation and leads to an ending, as opposed to something that is alive and vibrant. And so if you release this idea of trying to hold on to these people or these situations or this part of your identity, will actually kind of release this pent-up energy that's just kind of been percolating. And it's time to walk away. It's time to let that thing go as well. In the underworld, when Ainana was hung up on the meat hook, she was stripped bare. She had nothing. But in her being able to surrender to the judgment of the underworld, and then having been smart enough to stay prepared, when she went into the underworld, she told her handmaiden, her priestess, Ninshabar, that if she doesn't come back in a certain amount of time, to go and seek help for her. And so that's what she did, because she did lose her life. And although she didn't have immediate help, because 2 of her uncles were like, she knew better, she shouldn't have went down there, or her, I think an uncle and her dad or something. But her other uncle, Inky, said, okay, well, I'll send her these 2 folks and they'll help. And they did, and they empathized with Oreskagel, who was rebirthing, who was in the throes of birth, and she was birthing Ainana into the world again, and she was given over to these 2 beings. I think you may be focused a little bit too much on individuals who would never go into the underworld for you, and I think it might be time for you to maybe or who would never seek assistance for you to get you out of the underworld. And I think maybe it might be time for you to focus more on building the community, nurturing the connections, nurturing yourself to know that you will be reborn. Okay, that's going to be it. This is a long reading. Private readings, working with me 101, making the unconscious conscious, all the fun things. Link is in the description. Link is in the bio, www.theblissinstitute.org. I'll see y'all later. Love you. Bye.